Okay folks, big welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all fitting well. Today we're going to be doing the third installment in my little video section about vintage science fiction paperbacks. Now, any of you following these might remember that last time we did collections which are short stories by the same author, and today we're going to be touching on anthologies, which are short story collections by different authors. Now, to my mind, the anthologies probably represent the best value in short stories because you get a good cross section of authors with different styles, different ideas, different perspectives, and you know, if you find some of the volumes with the really top stories, like the first lot I'm going to show you, you know, they're a really good buy, and it takes a while to get through them all because they're quite big volumes. Now, I won't bore you with the mechanics of how these are put together because I went through them in the last two issues. But basically, some writers are also editors. Some editors are not writers, but editors put together what they think are a good selection of short stories, and they stick them in hardback and then onto paperback as usual. So that's about all I'll say about these volumes. Now, most of these volumes are fairly old, actually. You know, with the demise of science fiction in favour of science fantasy, you don't see many of these around anymore. So you know, to those of you who remember this stuff, might be something there that's a bit of interest to you. Okay, we'll start with the good stuff. Okay, now, these are volumes on the Hugo winners. Basically, to those of you unaware, the Hugo Awards were a big deal in America for science fiction writers, named after Hugo Gernsback, one of the fathers of science fiction. The award was made each year to the best short stories, the best novels, best novelettes, and in these particular volumes you have the winners of the short story section in any given year. So as you can imagine, these stories should be amongst the best of the best. That's the first volume. You can see some of the authors involved there. And like I say, you can't really get much better than these. These, as you can see, you can't fail to see that these are edited by Isaac Asimov, who's another famous science fiction writer. And I mean, I can't go through all the stories in these because we'll be here for the next 2 hours. But all I can do is show you the the editions that I've got. I mean, unfortunately, these covers are not very interesting. They seem to be mostly writing, but they are Fawcett editions, which are American editions. That was volume 2. This is more from volume 2. Again, not very interesting, I'm afraid. But these are all matching issues, are all Fawcett. You can buy these in various by various publishers. And there's the final one that I have. The penultimate one that I have, volume 3, book 1. Again, with an even more boring cover. And finally, I don't know if this was the last one they did, but that's Volume 3, Book 2. Now that is a better cover. I wish they were all like that. Maybe some of the later printings were. That might be a later printing. But once again, it's a 4-set, so it's a matching set. And you might recognise some of the authors on there. So yeah, that was the Hugo winners. If you're into short stories, that's about the best you can do, really, for great science fiction, basically. Or, if you can find them, there's this lovely 3-set volume by Avon Books in America. Once again, sadly the sadly the writing seems to overwrite anything that's on there art-wise. But yeah, I mean, these are basically stories going way back to the 30s, 40s, up to whenever this was printed. I would guess about 68, 70, 1970. And you have a who's who on the back there of all the authors involved. And it's just anybody who's anybody on there. Like I say, there were 3 nice volumes. Luckily, I've got them all in very near mint condition. So volume 2A, once again with a large who's who of authors involved. And finally you have volume 2B, which as far as I know is the last volume in that particular set. As I say, these I'm lucky. I've had these for donkey's years, 50 years, and I've kept them in absolutely mint condition. The who's who of authors gets a bit smaller as we go along, but the books seem to be about the same thickness, so maybe that's not everybody involved. But if you want a good read, apart from the Hugo winners, that's another one. Now this what next little set I'm going to show you has particular nostalgic value to me. Spectrum Anthology. I think this one's about 1964. I believe it's the first printing. It's first printing of paperback in this country, at least. As I say, unfortunately, these seem to have very boring covers. But back in the day, when I was a teenager, a late teenager, I did very boring jobs, mostly sedentary office type jobs. And I was just glad to get out of my lunch hour, and I picked a public park or somewhere quiet. Excuse me, I've got a frog. And I would spend my lunch hour just eating sandwiches, whatever, and just reading these. It was the highlight of my day, apart from going home. And I remember these Spectrum volumes very well. You could pick these up for second hand for next to no money. As you can see, it's got it's got a price on it of 3 shillings, which is 15 new pence. And very often you could pick them up for 5-10 pence, you know. And yeah, I mean these have got some really good stories in also. I think the 3 I have are the full set, and I was lucky enough to pick them up in. I mean, these are not the original ones I had. I bought these from an Oxfam charity shop, which seems to get a lot of these type of books in near where I live in Durham. And I go over there occasionally and have a route through, and I was lucky enough to pick up all 5 volumes. I mean, as you can see, from a 5 shilling, 25 pence original price, I had to pay £5. But you know, as vintage paperbacks go in that sort of condition, I mean, it's not quite mint. There's a little bit of curvature on the spine there, but you know, fiver for late sort of mid-60s paperbacks is not bad. I don't mind paying it anyway. I think they had a special offer on like a 3 for 2 or something, so it probably didn't cost me as much. But that's the sort of things to look out for. That's the 4th volume. And then finally we had volume 5. Okay, so to say those are quite old. I was pleased to get my hands on them. Right, next we have that was round about the time when, or just after the New World's phenomenon began in this country, and you had like the new wave of science fiction, as they called it at the time, in the 70s, and I think this is a Penguin book that came out about that time. These were more cutting edge, edgy sort of stories, you know, rather than your standard 1960s stuff. And then this is a nice little scene, a copy of this, apart from this one I have, so not an easy one to find. It's a Ballantine book, so it's American, but it's in lovely condition. Something that I kept from the early 70s, 2 Views of Wonder, just original stories to illuminate the subject. So the authors have actually chosen the subjects for these. But it's a lovely cover, particularly nice anthology, that one. And then this one was another one of these cutting edge new wave type anthologies. You know, these have got pretty tedious covers, I'm sorry to say, but they're still well worth showing, because these are sort of semi-classics of the genre. Epoch. The Berkeley book, again American. You don't see these around too much, and if you do, they normally cost you a pretty penny. Well, comparatively. It depends how you value these old things. Right now, I was a bit nonplussed when I got these out, because New Writings in SF. Now that was another very famous anthology, British, done by Pan Books, I believe. Corgi Books. These are slightly more interesting art-wise. Now I can't find volumes 1 to 5, so I assume that I had them. Maybe I've misfiled them somewhere. So if I do, I'll try and find them for the next volume. But yeah, there again, that's another famous set of anthologies. I've got most of the rest. There's number 7. I think these date back to again, these are marked up at £5 each from a charity shop. Yeah, these are around about the late 60s. I believe they're probably first paperback printings in this country, so well worth having. And we have number 8. You know, any of you older viewers who are into science fiction might well remember these on the bookshelves. I certainly do. All of these I bought from the charity shop that I mentioned earlier. I think they're all marked up about $4.99, but to say with some of the deals they have there, probably a bit cheaper. Number 9. These obviously went in the same format with a little bit of artwork there. Quite nice covers actually. Pity they don't cover the full book, but number 10. We jumped to number 12. I've obviously missed number 11 there. Now this is getting into the, I seem to remember that artist, probably Josh Kirby, I believe. So we're getting into the era when they decided that they would make covers a bit more lively and pretty to pull in people. I mean, I must admit I'm as guilty as anybody. I sometimes buy books just because it's got a nice cover. But yeah, we're getting into the era where they decided that covers were the thing. Number 13 and 15. We missed one. I don't know how many of these there were. I mean, I might be missing some of the later ones, but certainly got most of them. And that's 16. I mean, they might have gone on forever. I don't know. So these, I probably had all these back in the day, but these are ones that I've managed to buy back when I've seen them in nice condition, and that particular charity shop that I mentioned is a good source. This is an interesting one. It's an American Lancer edition, First Flight. It's all the first short stories of these authors on the cover here. So obviously the quality won't be quite as in the Hugo Winners Awards, but it's interesting to see how writers started out. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting one to pick up. And then I know that one, the first Astounding Science Fiction. Of course, Astounding magazine was a major pulp magazine from the 1930s, I believe it started. It was a pulp magazine, then it went to digest size in the 60s, I believe, or 50s. And Astounding magazine covered sort of like hard science fiction, like the nuts and bolts. Not the fantasy side of it, more the hard science of it. Not everybody's cup of tea, but certainly produced some excellent stories. Authors like Robert Heinlein and people like this would have had their original stories printed in Astounding magazine. So that's an English 4-square edition. Probably a first printing, I would imagine, paperback-wise. This was just an interesting one. Star Science Fiction. That's the third. I don't have the rest, but that's an American one. As you can see, it was distributed here. It's got the TP there and the English price on it. So I thought that was interesting from that point of view. Right now we have a couple of, finish off with, we have a couple of series quite well known at the time. Now this is the Clarion series of anthologies. The Clarion Writers' Workshop was a thing in America. They were where all the most of the best science fiction writers attended. And it was a workshop, just shopping ideas and then writing stories, and this is the end product of a lot of the jam sessions that these writers would have had, and putting their stories on paper, and ended up in here. Quite a well thought of anthology, this one. As you can see, you've got some, if you can see there, it's a bit awkward in the red, but you've got some top drawer authors there. I believe it was either Damon Knight or his wife Kate Wilhelm who ran this. I believe I might be getting my names mixed up there, but certainly people of stature, are running these workshops for authors, and that was the second one. Nice cover, that one. I like that one. I know one of my favourite authors, Harlan Ellison, was a leading light at these workshops. Of course, Harlan being Harlan, he probably took them over after a while, but yeah, I mean, some good stuff in these. It's a rather thinner volume, but Interesting cover there. I think there was only 3 in this series. Might have been 4. I might be missing the 4th. I hope not. But yeah. So that was those. And then last but not least, this was a famous American anthology. There was 13 of them all told. The Orbit. These were edited by Damon Knight. Might be getting mixed up when I said the Clarion. I'm not 100% certain, but if I'm wrong, I'm sure somebody will put me right. So yeah, Orbit Anthologies, well regarded in the States. I don't know if they got printed over here. I mean, these are Berkeley book editions, which obviously are American. I think I've got yes. No, I seem to have all the Berkeley editions, so maybe they were only distributed in America. But I have all 13, which I will show you. See the authors there. That's a particularly nice cover. I like that one. These are more traditional science fiction covers, which I like to see. I mean, the wording takes up, sort of a third or just over a third, but the artwork's still nice. Orbit 4. And we have number 5. I think most of these were probably by the same artist. I forget who it was. John Berkey or something. Some people of that ilk. Yeah, as I say, if you can find any of these, there were any like science fiction short stories that were worth a read. As you can tell from the list of famous authors there. 7. And we come to the last few. There's number 8. So these all seem to be by the same artist. Very uniform, which is nice when you've got a full set of them. I think I have anyway. So first time in paperback, so obviously a first printing, I would think. It's nice to have. I mean, it's nicer to have first printings of hardbacks, of course, because that's where the money is. But it's also nice to have first edition paperbacks. I mean, that's the reason I got rid of a lot of my paperbacks in the past, because they were like 3rd, 4th editions. But a lot of the stuff I've got back. I think these are originals. These are stuff I bought around about the time of early 70s, whenever they came out. So I kept all these. I never got rid of them. Some stuff you just want to keep. You can't part with. These don't actually have the numbers on the front there. Anyway, that's the first 12, and this is the final volume, I think. Number 13. So a nice uniform set there. Yeah, okay, so that's it for the. I've decided to split the anthologies into 2 parts, because I have rather a lot of them, and it wouldn't be possible to get them all in to one video and keep it like short. So next time I do one, I'll be doing the 2nd volume of the anthologies. So yeah, I hope you found that interesting. Just before I go, if I might mention, we're crawling along around 1925 subs now. So if any of you out there are not subbed, and you like the channel, or you like the content, I would ask you to please sub, because I'm just dying to get to that 2,000 mark. I mean, that would be an absolute blast, absolute buzz, that one, if I get around to 2,000. So if any of you aren't, please do, and I'll be grateful to you. And I've no idea what's coming up next, but until then, thank you again for watching, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye now.